Hi, readers. So, throughout the past 2 weeks, as readers, you have worked on identifying patterns in your characters' actions and things that they say over and over again to kind of come up with this idea or theory about your character. Then you continue to read your books and you thought about times that might not fit that pattern, right? Times where they might act a little different. And then you are going to ask yourself, why do you think they act different? Do they act different in a different setting? Do they act different around different people? So you were supposed to jot that information on Post-its, okay? Theory about a character, and then possibly a time in your story where maybe they didn't act the same way. So today I'm going to show you that there's another way that we can get a better or stronger theory or idea about our character. So we can think about the motivations and the obstacles and how they respond to those obstacles. So a motivation means something the character wants. So in every story, whether you're writing it or reading, every story has a motivation. The characters want something. And then there's an obstacle or a problem that gets in their way, right? Or stopping them from getting what they want. And a lot of times, if we look at the way that they respond to the problems or those obstacles, we can get a better understanding of the type of people that they are. Let me show you what I mean. So you should all be familiar with the story arc now, since we've been using it in writing past 2 weeks, okay? So we know in the beginning, we learn about the characters' wants, and then somewhere over here, we're thinking about the problem and what's kind of getting in the way of their wants, okay? Let's think about Rob for a minute. We know Rob wants, in the beginning of the book, to keep his suitcase closed. Doesn't want to share his feelings or his wishes, okay? He doesn't want to think about all the bad things going on in his life. He wants to keep it closed. But there is an obstacle that he faces, right? He has a hard time keeping that suitcase closed around Sistine. And that's getting in the way of what he wants. He wants to keep his suitcase closed, but Sistine forces him to open it, okay? Now let's think about, how does he respond to that problem? Well, Sistine's getting in his way, but he ends up opening up and sharing things with her that he didn't want to share, doesn't he? He ends up opening up around her. Even though he doesn't want to, he does it. So I have to ask myself, what other ideas do I have about Rob? Well, I think that this is showing that Rob possibly sees a friend in Sistine and he really wants to open up his suitcase. But maybe he was just waiting for the right person. Okay? So do you notice how I kind of took the problem that Rob was facing and I thought about how he reacted to it to come up with this new idea? So let's try with Sistine. Here are the questions you would ask yourself. What are Sistine's motivations? Right? What does she want? What obstacles are getting in the way of what she wants? How is she responding to those problems or obstacles? And then what does this tell us about Sistine now? So think about it for a minute. So some of you might be thinking, well, in the beginning of the story, Sistine, her motivations or her wants are that she wants to get out of Florida, right? She's always telling us that she doesn't like the people in the South and that her dad is coming to get her. So I think her wants is to get out of Florida. And maybe you're thinking, well, what's getting in her way is that her dad has not come to get her. She keeps saying he's going to come, but he hasn't. And then how does she respond when she's faced with that obstacle? I think she's kind of in denial, right? She always says, my dad's coming to get me, all throughout the book so far, right? So she kind of puts a wall up, right? And she keeps that in her mind that her dad's definitely coming to get her. So what does that tell us about Sistine? Well, maybe it tells us that even though she might be rude and bossy, maybe she's also a little scared, right? She's scared that some of the things that she wants might not actually happen. So she's kind of in denial, right? Or some of you might be thinking later in the book, Sistine wants to set the tiger free. And we know what problem's getting in her way, right? Rob. Rob does not want to set the tiger free. And how does she respond? She yells, right? She kind of yells, tells him that his tiger is stupid. She tells him his ideas are stupid, and she kind of yells at him. So now what does that tell us about Sistine? So this might tell us maybe you're thinking Sistine has a hard time dealing with not getting what she wants, right? Or this tells us that maybe Sistine has similar feelings to the tiger, right? And feels like he should be free because she wants to be free. So this is another way to look at our characters and build ideas about our characters. You're starting to think about those questions. What are your characters' wants or motivations? What problem is getting in the way of what they want? And how do they respond when they're faced with that problem? Do they just give up? Do they throw a tantrum? Do they persevere and keep going through their problem? And what does that tell us about our character now? What are you thinking? So you are going to read your independent reading book for 20 minutes today. When you're done reading, I want you to think about these following questions. And you can answer these questions in your notebook, or you can put each one on a Post-it. It's up to you. Either way, it's going in your notebook or on Post-its, and then you can turn it in when you're done and bring this work with you when you come to school the next time. All right? Let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, have a great day. Bye.